Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Do have right now, and please unmute your microphones for a second. I'm just going to talk a little bit and then we'll go ahead and get started with the matter. So I apologize, we're a little bit late. I had a really crazy 1 p.m. docket, but we're gonna go right into this. I am slightly aware of this matter. I did handle it previously, vacated the judgment. I'm allowing it to be heard one more time. I think there's been an amended counterclaim filed by Mr. and Mrs. Curl. And so just going forward, I just want to state to both parties that I have reviewed some of the exhibits. There's a lot of exhibits, so I just wanted to come in slightly aware of what was going to happen. In this situation, Ms. Kelly's going to go first. She's going to tell her side of the matter. I ask specifically in this situation because there is a restraining order that is active, that Ms. Kelly and Ms. Curl, you are not to address each other. You're only to address me, please. We are going to try to abide by the rules of that restraining order as best we can because we are in this setting. So first, Ms. Kelly's going to go. Please refer to all exhibits. I see the exhibits that you have presented to me. Please refer to any of them if you need me to look at them. Then afterwards, if there are no witnesses that you wish to call, then I'll ask Mr. and Ms. Curl to go and testify on your behalf. I do want to state that there is a lot of information and some of it is irrelevant to the specific matter at hand. And what I want to state in this situation is that Ms. Kelly is requesting $9,999 that pertains to months paid for care that she says need to be returned to her because her mother had passed at that time. And then Ms. Curl, I see that you're asking for loss of work, income, filing fees, mailing costs, document costs, therapy, and pain and suffering. So that's the only information I'd like you to address when it's your turn, please. I just don't want to talk about the other additional accusations being made because this could last for a very long time and we don't have that much time to discuss all this. Please be cordial, speak to only me, not to each other. And then at the end, I'll just impart my judgment. So let's go
Your
ahead.
Honor, I did have a very quick question.
Here.
So I never received any documents, and I did go to the court directly and ask, and they said that she gave a copy for you and that she said she was going to serve me. They couldn't tell me what was served. They said the only thing they had proof of service on was for a completely different case.
Okay, so that is interesting. Let me go ahead and see. So all I can say is that Miss Kelly is just looking for $9,999. It says paid for services that were not provided along with money taken from account. That's if you have that small claims form for $9,999, that's all I am going on.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what exhibits I have because you are not provided a copy of them. I'm not going to hold it up just because this is broadcast and so I don't want to expose this account information. It's just an account transfer authorization form showing that on the 28th of each month, $4,500 is to be transferred to your account. It's just a singular sheet. That's all I have. I have text messages from Nicole to me. Just pretty much stating that kids and grandkids do not want anything to do with her. It's dated Wednesday, November 27th, 2024 at 1:16 p.m. And then I'm going to cover this up. I just have a statement form that shows transfers for on September 30th for $4,500. And it says for October, passed away August 30th. And then I have another transfer on 8/28, so August 28th, 2024 for another 4,500. And underneath it says September, passed away August 30th. And then I have another transfer from August 1st, 2024 for 4,500 that says August 1st through 30th. And then the last exhibit is just a death certificate of her mother, your grandmother. Those are the only exhibits I have, okay? Does anyone else have any questions? Ms. Kelly, you need to unmute if you want to speak.
I got it. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I don't have anything else. That's basically what I have.
Okay, thank you. So based on
Oh.
that information, we're going to go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead and
I'm sorry. I did have one. I thought that I had sent to you, my mother's bank statement that had all the, deductions that Nicole had all the monies that she had taken out and the charges that she had, made at stores.
no, ma'am, all I received is these pieces of paper.
Okay.
All
Well, it
right,
was like almost $800 worth of money she took out supposedly for the care of my mom.
all right. Well, let's begin trial then, please.
Okay. Mhm.
So at this time, Ms. Kelly, as a plaintiff, could you please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
Yes, I do.
Could you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
It's Diana Lynn Kelly, Kelley.
Okay, please begin with your testimony.
Um, uh, Nicole and I made an arrangement that she would care for my mother for $4,500 a month. And, she did that. However, my mother only lived for 2 months. This started July the 5th, and my mother passed away on August the 30th. And Nicole was paid for 4 months due to a bank error. And basically, that's what happened.
275.
She should have only been paid for 2. She sent me the text message stating that she had not gotten the money. And I know for a fact she did because I see it came out of my account. And my bank told me that, yes, it was taken out, never returned.
What we want, okay?
Okay, if there's someone talking in the background, could you please ask them to stop talking because I can hear everything. Thank you.
I sure will.
Okay, so your contention is that July to August, August 1st to 30th. So she should have only been paid $4,500 twice, let's say.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I see also here in your request, it says paid to care for mother 2 months after she died. That's $9,999. So I just want to confirm.
It's only 9,000. I was counting the money that my mom had taken out of her account. But I didn't send you that proof, so
Okay.
I wish I thought I did, but that's my error.
Okay. So, based on the fact that you didn't send that information, essentially you are asking for $9,000 back, which would be 2 months, you're saying, of overpay for care that your mother did not receive based on the fact that I see here that there is a death certificate. She died on August 30th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that you're requesting $9,000 back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there anything additional you wish to add or?
Are we addressing the countersuit yet, or are we just addressing this right now?
You know what, ma'am? I think just to make this a little bit smoother, why don't we just start with this? Then we'll let Jason and Nicole Curl speak, and then you can address again the counterclaim again. So that way we can just sort of ping pong this way. But
Okay,
let's start with your matter. They'll address it. She'll bring up her counterclaim, and then I'll let you have another turn, and then I'll have my judgment. Okay?
yes, ma'am. Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
All right. Thank you. So if you're done with that, who would like to go first? Ms. Curl, Mr. Curl.
I can go.
All right, so Nicole Curl, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
Yes.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Nicole Lynn Curl, Curl.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kroll, if you could begin with your testimony.
So I received 4 payments. She's correct. And I received those 4 payments because even though my grandmother was not in my home, I took over care of everything because my mother moved to Oklahoma in the very beginning of June. So I was the only family member still here. And visiting my grandma, in contact with the adult family home, getting my home ready for her. I quit my job. So that is why I was paid for June, July, August, and I was paid for September because I'm the one that planned her entire memorial. So I could not go back to work until October. So that is why I was paid for 4 months.
Okay. All right, and I'm sorry, just to clarify, June. So you quit your previous job at the beginning of June?
Correct, because she moved to Oklahoma and someone needed to still be here and responsible for my grandma. And I was getting my home ready for her to come on hospice care.
Okay. When did she move in with you?
July the 5th, I picked her up that morning from the adult family home.
Okay, and your contention is that June, you were getting the home ready to take your um, grandmother from an adult home and move her into your home.
Correct. So
Okay.
Diana and I spoke about she was leaving to Oklahoma, moving there. So I was the only one here. I would be responsible and make sure to go check in on her at the adult family home, was speaking with hospice because we had to switch her from Clark County Hospice over to the Kelso Longview Hospice. I had to get hospital equipment in my home. I had to clear a room for her, everything. She had dementia, so I had to put like cameras in and different security things so we could make sure she was safe.
Okay. All right. So even though she wasn't living with you from the beginning of June till July 5th, you still were not working anymore and you were preparing your home for her to move in full time with you.
Correct. And then I cared for her for the all of July and August. And then all of September, I spent dealing with like getting her cremated remains, calling them about the death certificate, planning her service, setting all of that up.
Okay. So I think that I'm going to ask, and I'm sure there may be differing opinions on this. Is it your testimony that your mother was aware that you would not be working for the month of June because you'd be preparing your home while she moved, because your mother moved to Oklahoma? Did she know that 4,500 should be applied to the month of June as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And she had a lot of trouble figuring out how to even get the money to me. So that first payment that I received in July was for June. And you can see that the payments are all over the place because then when it came time for the following month, I didn't get a payment and she had to go back to the bank and she's like, oh, it's because they had it for it was the 3rd or the 5th of the month or something. So she had to change it again and change it again.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Would you be able to please refer me to? I mean, you have a thick stack of
Sorry.
documents. No, it's fine. I'm just saying I'm not going to be able to quickly flip to it. Is there something that you could show me that maybe states she was trying to pay you in June and maybe there was an issue from that?
Let me go to my text messages.
I see that I have your originals.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can see she was already asking me in June because she was in the process of driving and moving to Oklahoma. In June already, you need to text me your routing number, then email me the account number. Don't send them both together.
are these text messages? Okay.
Yeah, these are text messages and it's in the listed packet 2, page 4 of 29.
Okay. Okay, I see that. Will do. And then I have your,
And then it continues on the 29th.
Okay.
And then she was having trouble figuring it out. She was telling me that that her bank had sent it, my bank wouldn't accept it, and that I was giving her the wrong information. So I had to send her a picture of my direct deposit information. And
Okay.
then as we go further into those text messages, you'll see she keeps saying like the bank said it went through and WTF. And so she was having a lot of issues. And then further in the text messages, you'll see where she said, I'd have to find the exact page real quick, but she says like, I'll go back down to the bank and, oh, they had it for the wrong date.
Okay. All right. And then, so I think you've explained about June. How about September? Was there any agreement that your mother would, I guess, pay you because you are taking over all aspects of the cremation, the service, all that stuff for your mother? Was there any talk about how you would not be able to be employed during that month because you'd be doing her a service and taking care of it for her because she was not local?
Let's see. I'm trying to find in the text messages if there was anything that she wrote specifically in there.
Anything maybe pertaining to,
I mean, the only thing that I really have, we talked by phone, and she talked by phone with my daughter and my sister. But the only thing that I really have is just there is stuff in there from my grandma's service showing that everything was being sent to me and I was the one taking care of it all. She didn't even end up attending my grandmother's service. So it was all placed on myself and my daughter to take care of everything. She wasn't even in the state.
could you please state what you took care of in September? So the cremation services, the service, what else did you take care of?
So they had to come and get all the hospital equipment out of my home. And then we did her cremation. I set up with the Elks Lodge, like getting the room and how we wanted things set up. My grandma was part of the Emblem Club. So a bunch of the ladies from the Emblem Club, we met with them so that we could go through what they were going to be doing and the rehearsal. I wrote her obituary. I did all of the, I don't know, like pamphlets, I guess is what they're called. So I created the pamphlet on Canva, went and got all of those printed out, folded all of them that you hand out to everybody at the service. I got all the flowers. Diana did buy a flower arrangement that she had sent to my house. And I added additional flowers to that. And then I gathered pictures, did an entire slideshow,
Okay.
Set up the service, tore down the service, all of that.
May I ask, I guess, what caused you to take over care for your grandmother? Why did it transfer from her living at an assisted living home to you taking over? What caused that?
Because she was living at the adult family home, and from what Diana told me, she was moving to Oklahoma and the adult family home was like $9,000 a month or something. She said that it was way too much. And we had been going back and forth for years on her saying, would you take care of your grandma? Me offering to take care of my grandma, but then it never came to fruition. And then once she sold my grandmother's home and had the money to move to Oklahoma, she didn't want to pay the $9,000 a month for the adult family home.
Okay, and I do see here, I see the text message is, so What were you thinking about pay? This is from Miss Kelly to you. I want it to be fair, but also I checked, and for me to hire an aide in Oklahoma to care for her is like 2,500 to 3,000. Do you think 4,000 is fair? Just tell me what you think, because part of the reason for the move is it's too expensive to keep her there. Just be honest about what you think. It's a thankless job. Okay, and then I could do 4,500. That would stretch out the money longer, have to pay you. And then, so that was the agreed upon amount. It seems like that's actually what Miss Kelly
Yeah, I never
chose
gave
as the
her
amount.
a dollar figure. She gave me a dollar figure.
Okay.
And in reference to my grandmother's account, Diana did give me a debit card and told me that I could use that card, that was my grandma's money, and that I could use that card to get what my grandmother needed as far as clothing, food, anything like that. When she came from the adult family home, she had the outfit on her back and one additional outfit that did not fit her. She had a pair of hospital socks. She did not own a bra. She had no slippers, no shoes, nothing. Her purse was empty aside from some kind of card. I don't even know if it was active, and a $2 bill. So I had to buy everything for her. And I do have in the packets for you all the receipts to everything that was purchased for her.
Okay. I do see it. There's substantial amount of receipts. Okay. All right. So I thank you. I think I got enough information in regards to the 4,500 and the contention about what months you should have been paid for. And I guess now, if unless you have anything additional to add, why don't we go ahead and look at your counterclaim?
I was just going to tell you that my husband wasn't really speaking because during this time he was working out of town.
Okay.
So we initially didn't even know why he was brought into the small claims, because the money wasn't put into his bank account or anything like that.
Okay. Mr. Curl, do you have anything additional to add in regards to the 4,500 and for the 4 months that are in question?
No, like my wife said,
And I apologize, Mr. Curl, if you are going to testify, I do need to just swear you in. So maybe we could just get that taken care of. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
I swear to tell the whole truth.
All right. Could you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
It's Jason Curl, Curl.
Thank you. Please go ahead and add what you wanted to say.
So pretty much this whole time I was working out of town, I wasn't in a part of any money conversation. I wasn't a part of really any conversations with Diana and Nicole about this whole thing. I saw them maybe a couple times on the weekends, and it was just a quick deterioration, you know.
Do you have any information as to whether it was agreed upon that in June when, I'm sorry, what is your grandmother's name? What was her last name?
Donna Delmonico.
Delmonico. So, was there any agreement that in the month of June, Miss Delmonico wouldn't be living yet with your wife, but she would still be reimbursed for that month, or for the month of September when she took over taking care of all the service, the cremation? Do you have any recollection about that?
Well, obviously me and my wife are married, and so we had a conversation before my wife went to go pick up her grandmother. We had a conversation saying we were going to have to change the whole house around and do all this, and there was a lot of work she was going to need to do and to get it and to get ahead. So that was a talk. So knowing that it was going to be before she moved in.
All right. Anything additional in regards to the months of pay, or else we'll just go on back to Miss Curl to discuss the counterclaim?
I think we're good.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Ms.
Your
Curl.
Honor, can I say something about the conversation that was just with-
Sure, you can, yes, go ahead. Ms.
Okay,
Kelly.
first of all, my daughter asked me to care for my grandmother. My grandmother was in a home. She was fine to be in that home. I never told Nicole that I would pay her for June. Nicole quit on her own, her job. That was nothing that was requested of me. And Nicole and her daughter Lily asked me if they please could plan the memorial. I paid for everything. They just wanted to be able to plan it. And I had come there 2 times during the 2 months that my mom was alive to see my mom. And my mom is gone at this point. I didn't really feel like, since Nicole wanted to take over all the service and everything, that it was necessary for me to fly home again.
Mm, mm, mm.
So it wasn't necessary for you to fly home to attend the service of your mother who had just passed?
Well, because I had just been there 2 weeks prior to that, and my mother did not know who I was. My mother didn't go to her mother's memorial, so. And I really couldn't afford it at this point, because that $9,000 that she was overpaid came out of my account, my personal account.
Okay. So,
Basically, all I'm saying is there was no agreement for her to be paid for June or for September. The agreement we made was for 2 months that my mom was alive.
okay. So when, I guess my question would be, when would you have expected her to set up this house and prepare her for your mother to move in?
I just thought that was something she was doing before my mom got there. She had me give a 30-day notice to the place she was at so that they could pick her up on July 5th. I told her there was a lot involved in it. When my mom fell down in the bathroom and hurt herself, and I called an ambulance and she went to the hospital, that's when I realized that I can no longer care for my mom. It was a 24-hour day, job, and I could not do it by myself. So that's when she was put into hospice. And Nicole kept wanting me to put her into a home in Longview. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that because the home I put her in was across the street from me. I could go see my mom daily. And when I was moving, Nicole had asked repeatedly if she could care for my grandma. And I said, okay, I think that, you can care for grandma. And I asked her how much she wanted to be paid. And originally she said 4,000, and then she said, no, make it 4,500. That way I'll have extra money if grandma needs anything. And then all these charges and stuff was put on there, and there was no agreement ever for June or September.
Okay. So you never, I see the text messages in front of me. And I see that you were the one that actually suggested the 4,500. Is that text message incorrect?
Well, there was phone calls that were also going on at the time. Not everything was text. Not all the information was text back and forth.
Okay. And
She ca-
wouldn't
she ca-
isn't it true that you state that $9,000 is very expensive? So wasn't it almost a benefit to you to have your daughter take care of your mom because it saved you a substantial amount of money each
Well,
month?
that money that was for my mom's care was out of my mom's account, out of her stocks and bonds. None of that money out of that account was to benefit me. All the money that was left in her account was to be split between my brother and my stepsister, which as a trustee was.
Ma'am, I'm asking about the $9,000 you were paying in the adult living home as opposed to 4,500 you were paying to your daughter. Wasn't
That's what
that
I'm,
actually, well, I guess you keep saying that your daughter kept asking you if she could take care of your mom. Wasn't that a benefit to you
well,
and to all the individuals who split the finances that are saved by not being paid for because you're not paying $9,000 a month?
with those people, they never had anything to do with my mom being moved. So, and what I'm saying, that money, I could have had my mom there for 4 years and it would not have done anything for me, didn't benefit me at all to have her moved to my daughter's,
So why did you move her to your daughter's?
because my daughter wanted her there. She said all she wanted was to have grandma there and to make her last days as happy as she could.
Is there an issue with someone saying that?
Was someone saying what?
Doesn't that seem, wouldn't you want that someone wants to
Yes,
take
I
care of
did.
your mother
Yes,
like that?
I did want that. Yes, I absolutely did want that.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Nicole could have said she wanted, you know, $8,000 or $9,000. She didn't. She said she would do it for 4,500, and she knew how much my mom was being charged at the other facility.
So then
But
you're
they
agreeing that
also,
it's actually a benefit that your daughter didn't ask for $9,000 and only asked for 4,500, which actually, based on the text messages, isn't even what she asked. It's what you offered.
okay, but
So isn't that a benefit?
yeah, okay, I guess you can say it was a benefit. However, the place where my mother was at, there were 3 nurses. They were licensed nurses on staff all the time. And the facility was not the same. You can't, I mean, you couldn't compare. It's like apples to oranges. It's like if you're in the hospital or if you're at home, someone taking care of you.
Right, ma'am. I guess what I need to say, because I don't want to keep circling around at
Right.
this, is that you're the one who made the decision to take your mom out. It's not like Miss Curl threatened you or coerced you to take your mother out. That was your joint decision to do that. So it's kind of a moot point for you right now to be saying it's a hospital versus something else, because you made that decision to move her because it seemed like you saved money based on your decision.
Okay. I'm not gonna, yeah, I will agree with you.
Okay. Um, so I guess, Ms. Curl, if you could please now explain the 10,000 counterclaim, because for you to be requesting this amount, I just need financials to back it up and I need evidence. I'm not just going to award money
Yeah.
out of the blue. So please go ahead and provide me information.
So we did the counterclaim, obviously based off of the time missed from work. So I did provide our pay stubs for myself and for my husband to you. We have had to miss a lot of work. So
For this trial or for what?
for this, so the first time we had to miss a day of work for us to each go to the initial hearing. And then for us to go to the trial when she didn't appear. And then we had to miss work again for us to go to the initial hearing for this. And then, like, I'm missing work again today. My husband is missing part of work for him to be here today. And then she keeps filing these small claims against me. She has filed a 1099 against me from my grandmother that was incorrect, saying that I was paid $28,000. So I had to spend time contacting the IRS regarding that. I've had to spend time contacting my grandmother's tax lady, asking her if she has gotten proof from Diana regarding that. So then I had to miss time filing a restraining order, and I went to court for the restraining order. It was continued. I went back again to court. Diana did not show up to that. And so it's been a nonstop battle. And so I have had to miss quite a bit of work. And then obviously what it costs to file, take copies, all of that stuff. And then therapy, because all of this is very anxiety ridden. And so I did provide you that documentation as
But
well.
where is the financial amount
Okay.
relating to therapy costs?
Let me find that for you, sorry. So in the front of the packet, I did provide that false 1099. And then you'll see there is a receipt for the copies today. There's a United States Postal Service. Let me tell you what page 1, 2.
There's like 3 packets, ma'am, so you're just going to have to.
So in the very, at the very top, page 7 is the 1099. Page 8 would be the copies today receipt. And then page 10 is the postal service for the documents that I have had to serve on her. And then page 11 is the $50 that I had to send to the Comanche County Sheriff so that I could file the restraining order on her. So I don't know if you just want me to show them to you. They're in the very
Oh,
top.
I mean, I see, but I'm asking about your therapy costs. Where are your therapy costs?
So that is going to be underneath all of the receipts. It's a letter from Creative Bee Therapy, Brandy Comet, dated Monday, February 19th. And it states in there that her rate is $135.39 and that we have met every single week, at least once a week.
All right, anything additional, ma'am?
No, it was just basically for the missed work and the filing of court stuff and then the therapy.
Okay,
I didn't get like receipts of like anxiety medication or anything like that. I just,
let me just look at this. This is dated February 17th, though.
um, get back to it. Yeah, it's dated February 17th because she gave me this letter at the time that we actually filed because there was a large amount of time between when we initially saw you for this case until us coming back.
I will say, though, that it looks like this letter from your treating physician is just pretty much her taking a letter she wrote in the restraining order and chopping it up to this.
So I did tell her that I needed information for me to provide for my restraining order and that I needed information to provide for my counterclaim. And so she was like, I could just give it all to you in one letter, or I can do one letter that's more pertaining to your restraining order and why you're seeking that, and one that's more pertaining to your small claims and why you're seeking like financial reimbursement for therapy. So I just asked her to give me the two different letters so that I could separate them out and send one for the restraining order and one for you.
Okay.
Yes, the letters are very similar.
They're actually the exact same. She just copy and pasted check sections.
Okay.
They're verbatim the same. Okay, Miss Kelly, do you have anything in regards to the claim of $10,000 being sought against you and as a counterclaim?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
When Nicole filed the restraining order against me, she made all kinds of allegations. She had no proof for any of them. It was hearsay. Nothing has ever come to me as far as me abusing my daughter in any way.
Ma'am, I'm not here to talk about the specifics of the restraining order. That's,
No, I know, but
I
it
just
leads
don't want
it,
that.
but it leads up to the countersuit.
Okay,
Okay, so the reason that she filed the countersuit was because that I had brought this suit. So she had to come up with a way, to make up the $9,000 or $10,000. Her counselor wrote these things about me. She's never met me, never talked to me. She only knows what Nicole has told her. And the whole reason Nikki entered therapy to begin with is because her and her daughter had a falling out, and her daughter didn't talk to her for a year and a half. So how I could be responsible for those charges, I don't know. And of course, she was stressed out about it. She was paid for 2 months that she didn't have coming. And she knew she didn't have coming because if she would have really thought that she honestly had that money coming, she wouldn't have lied to me and said she never got any money. She never got anything. She would have admitted it because there's really no reason to hide it if it's something that's owed to you.
All right. Okay.
And I
Thank you.
did go to my hearing for that. I was in the wrong room. I
All right,
had two.
we're not talking about
Okay,
the
okay,
restraining order. Thank you,
right.
though. I don't want to go into logistics. This is
Yeah,
broadcast for everyone to hear. I don't want them to hear
okay,
specifics, and I don't think you would probably want them either.
right.
So I guess what I'm going to ask is, if it wasn't for Miss Curl, were you not going to cremate your mother, do her service, write the obituary? Who is going to do that?
I asked Nicole about that when my mom was placed with her, and her and Lily wanted to be able to do that.
That's not my question.
Everything
That's
was
not my
set up.
question, ma'am. Would you have done it, or would you have paid for someone else to do it had it not been Miss Curl? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, it was already paid for. It was arranged for. The company that was doing it picked her up, took her to the place, cremated her.
Did that company who cremated her also choose the floral arrangement and create the slideshow and
I
talk
did
to
not
the elk
ask my
lodge?
I did not ask my daughter to do that. She wanted to do that. That
That's
was
not what I'm asking, ma'am. What I'm asking, ma'am, is so you're saying that if had your daughter not done this, you would have just cremated your mom and then not gone to a service for her, just left her cremated in the morgue?
No, I would have had them mail my mom's ashes to me. My sister also passed away. We had no service for her at all. It wasn't something that was important to my mom. It was something that was important to my granddaughter and to my daughter.
Okay.
So the only people my mom had left was myself and my brother.
Miss Kroll, was it your understanding that your mom was on board for you doing all this?
No, she wasn't doing any of it, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, not doing it. Was she okay with you planning this? Was she supportive of it? Because what it comes down to is I need to find out if you should be reimbursed for that month or not, or
I
you
need,
need to pay that back. And so I'm a little confused as to a statement saying I would have just had her cremated and sent back to me. And then
yeah,
then you saying that, no, I planned all this out.
yeah,
Because then, if one's stating that she didn't want this done, then yes, she didn't owe you 4,500. But if you're stating, no, my mom was on board and wanted this done, this is where the issue
yeah. So
happened.
she did have us do it. She wanted a service for her. If we go back to the text messages, let me find the page.
Can I say something?
Mr. Kroll, 1 second. Let Miss Kroll just find this text and then yes, you will be up right away.
So in the text messages on, I believe it's page 20.
20 of what, ma'am? I'm sorry. There's
On the text messages between myself and Diana, packet number 2, page 20. You
okay.
can see she says, should plan to come home. And I told her I still have no idea. She is still alive. And then the service has to be planned. And she says, I know, just wondering how long you guys were going to wait to do a memorial, like a week, 2, 3 sooner. I prefer 2 weeks, but I understand. So she was discussing the service with us. She was also the one that told myself and my daughter, get a hold of the women on the Emblems Club because they will help you. They have a specific service that they do for all Emblem members that pass away.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Kroll, go ahead.
Nicole just hit what I was going to say. I recall Diana telling us to get a hold of these women from the Emmons Club. And if she didn't want us to have a funeral, she wouldn't be giving us leads. You know what I mean? So.
Okay.
Your Honor, I've lost my Zoom video and I'm not sure why.
That's okay, ma'am. It's fine. At this point, I've sworn you in. So if your video feed's not there, that's okay, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And I was just telling Nicole, these are the things that she could do. She wanted to have the memorial. There'd be no point in having a memorial if there was nobody coming. So I said, Grandma's a member of the Elks. You can talk to them. They would come, you know. It wasn't something that was necessary to my mother. So, and I didn't ask her to do it. She wanted to do it. She asked if she could do it. And I did pay for everything. So if if someone's volunteering to do something, that's not an agreement to pay them.
Okay, but if you're paying
It wasn't
someone
even
for,
it wasn't even a volunteer. It was an asking, can she do that?
yes, ma'am, but if your statement is you would have just had her cremated and sent back, if someone is sending you bills for this service that you don't think is really necessary, they're just asking to do it, wouldn't you just say, no, I'm not going to pay for it, it's not necessary, instead of paying for it?
No, because that's what they wanted to do. That's my daughter. I was trying to make her, I wanted to make her happy. My daughter and my granddaughter wanted that. And so I said, yes, you guys can do that.
Your Honor,
And I paid for it, it wasn't, I guess what in retrospect, I should have just had her send, me just get my mother's ashes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Curl, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I believe that her claim of my grandmother not having a service would have been not important to my grandma. I believe that to be false. My grandfather passed away 6 years prior to her, and my grandmother did a service for him in the same exact Elks Lodge where my grandmother's service was held. They were both very big into the Elks and the emblem. And if my grandmother did that for my grandfather, I don't see why my grandmother would have ever been okay with just being cremated and that's it.
I took care of my mom for 10 years. I know what my mom wanted and what was important to her. We discussed it several times.
Okay. Is everyone done with this then? I think
Yeah.
that we have all the information out. Let's just wrap it up. I think that I have all the information I need. So if all parties are ready, I'm going to go ahead and just impart my judgment then.
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's start with the claim then. So what it comes down to is we have the plaintiff, Miss Kelly, essentially asking for $9,000 back for 2 months. She's asking for the month of September and the month of September and month of October. Is that correct? No, it's for previous. So I apologize. The month of June and the month of September. There we go.
No, it's for September and October.
The payments were for September and October. That's where it went through, but it would have been retroactive to June and September. Those are the 2 months in question because she was alive in July
okay.
and August.
I understand. Okay, yes,
So
I
I
understand.
apologize. I wasn't clear, but yes, the transfer went through those months, but the 2 months in question are June and September.
Okay.
Because from the beginning of June until July 5th, your mother, Miss Delmonico, was still in the assisted living home or in the adult home. I apologize. And then in the month of September, we have Miss Curl planning a memorial and all these additional stuff, but your mother had since passed on the 30th. So those are the 2 months in question.
Yes.
So let's start with the month of June. I do think that there, I don't deny that Miss Curl did ask to take care of your mother. I think what it comes down to is it was beneficial all around. From what the testimony seems like, it seems like, your mother was able to go into maybe more of a loving situation where she was wanted as opposed to a hospital, more sterile setting. And it seemed like it was monetarily beneficial to you. It went from 9,000 a month to 4,500. When it comes down to the month of June, that is a little bit more of a issue because there's nothing specifically that states take time off from work or, leave work in the month of June and I'll pay you for it, especially since your Miss Delmonico was still in the adult home. However, I do think that there is strong testimony that There needed to be some changes to the home. Mr. Curl and Miss Curl both stated that there needed to be cameras installed due to dementia. The home needed to be prepared. Hospital equipment needed to be moved in. I do think that that is something that needs a lot of administrative work to bring in, to facilitate, to reset the home, make it
That was something
Fair.
that was never brought up to me, that all this was going to be done.
okay,
What
Miss Kelly.
she said she had 4 people to help her care for my mother, her husband, her daughter, her daughter's boyfriend, and herself.
All
And
right. All right, Miss Kelly, I
I,
just need to finish. Please let me get my
okay,
judgment on. I've heard all the testimony, so thank you. Um, I did hear a statement from you, Miss Kelly, that you just assumed it would be done. I think that that's just a little bit of an easy statement to make, that you thought that your daughter would work and get this done, as well as facilitate everything. So I do think that it is fair to offer her the 4,500 for the preparation for your mother to move in to the home in the month of June. So I will go and deny the 4,500 for the month of June. I do think that that was fairly awarded to Miss Curl. In regards to the month of September, again, this is a very just contentious topic. Was the memorial needed? Was it not needed? I think that that is just, it's a familial dispute. I think that from the text messages that Miss Curl did state, I think that there is proof that you, Miss Kelly, are asking, when will the memorial be? I'd like it in 2 weeks. I think that there is information in here that you are showing some interest in having one. I know that you had testified that your mother wouldn't have wanted one, and you would just have had her ashes flown home. But I think it is interesting that you are assisting with facilitating this memorial, and specifically the emblems. I know that you're saying that that was just to get people to go, but I think that had you been hesitant to even plan this memorial, you wouldn't have paid for everything as you had stated. Miss Curl didn't state anything to the opposite.
I did this as a closure to my daughter and my granddaughter.
Okay, but it seems that based on that information, you were well aware of everything that was being put into it. You were even offering her to reach out to people. We have testimony from Miss Curl that she removed the hospital equipment, facilitated the cremation, helped with the service at Elks Lodge, wrote an obituary, helped with floral arrangements. You may be sent a floral arrangement, but she helped with the overall floral arrangements. And there's even text messages of you saying pretty flowers. She created a slideshow. She created the pamphlets. I think that that is a lot of work. There is nothing here that said that you told her, there was no testimony that said you told her, go back to work. I'm not going to pay for this month off. It seemed like she took over a lot that maybe you would have had to pay for, or you would have had to do yourself if that was the route that you wanted to do. So I will go ahead and let her keep the 4,500 for that month as well. So I'm going to deny your claim for $9,000 from the defendant. Now I will discuss the counterclaim. First and foremost, in regards to missing work, I was the judge presiding during a lot of these proceedings. A lot of these proceedings were just short, few minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It was nothing that would have needed you to miss days of work. Even in regards to today, the trial started at 2. You could have gone half day. I think that that is just based on your own decision of what you can and can do work-wise. So I think that in regards to missing work, I'm not going to award that money. I think that that's just something that comes with court cases, especially in regards to a restraining order. That was your own choice to file that restraining order. With that own choice comes missing work, filing fees. In fact, I did look through the report from your therapist, and it's actually interesting that it says that your therapist says, I have recommended Nicole apply for a restraining order. So it seems like you had some push from your therapist to actually do that as well. So I'm not going to go ahead and award any money in regards to filing fees, copy fees, missing work for this kinds of stuff. In regards to therapy costs, I see that it's the same letter from your therapist, which has sort of been copied and pasted, cut together. I don't see anything here that outlines the actual costs associated with it. She says a generalized amount, but it doesn't have anything that shows that specifically due to your mother after this date, these are the costs that were incurred. So based on that information, I'm going to deny your counterclaim. So at this point, there is actually no money that will be awarded to either parties, and this is just closed. So that is my final judgment. Neither party is awarded any amount.
Thank you.